All right, so here's a video that I've been working on forever, and a lot of you guys have been asking me about over the last year and a half. It's finally here. I'm finally doing it. I've finally tested enough deodorants to say that I'm finally happy enough with one. Is it perfect? You'll find out, I guess. Okay, so little backstory. I've tried a lot of natural deodorants since I got into the natural, eco, clean green, I don't even know what word we're using anymore, conscious, eco-conscious, this space. I used, what did I use? I guess I used I did use a lot of unconventional deodorants before because I didn't know that there was such a thing as natural deodorant or, non-aluminum, or, make your own decisions about what you're comfortable using. But in the beginning of my transition into more natural beauty, I tried a lot of deodorants. And deodorants is one of those things that's very hard for a lot of people to find a formula that works, adequately, how they like it. And for me, it's been a very, very long journey. It took me a long time in the beginning to find one that worked. And then when I finally did find that one that worked, they sort of went under. And now I'm back testing more to find another one to replace the one that did work really well that I can no longer get. So a year and a half-ish ago, or maybe it was close to like 2 years now, Hola Deodorant, who I told you guys about a ton. I made a whole video on the best deodorant. I think I did a top 5 deodorants video as well at the time. And so they were initially owned by the company that is now Woodlot. They used to be, oh my gosh, now I don't even remember what they were before. They were initially a different company. They were based out of Canada. And then the company stopped making all of their skincare and body care except for their deodorant, which was my favorite product from them. Then eventually they sold their deodorant portion of the company to someone else. I guess at the same time selling their skincare formulas to Woodlot, because Woodlot now makes a lot of their old skincare. And the company that took over the deodorant portion no longer is updating their website. They haven't been in stock in almost 2 years. They've deleted all of the posts that they made when they took the account over. So the post that's on, like the most recent post on their Instagram, I think goes back to like 2018, which was before they sold the company. So unfortunately, Hola Deodorant, which I raved about, told you guys to buy, a lot of you guys told me that it was the best deodorant you ever tried, is no more. It's very sad. I have considered like trying to dupe the formula myself. Would I be able to do that on a scale that people could actually buy it from? Probably not, but I don't know. We'll see what the future holds. Yeah, so when I found out that this was pretty much out of stock, like it was never coming back because the company just like stopped selling it. The website is still up, but everything says sold out. They haven't updated again like their Instagrams or Facebooks or anything like that. So it's pretty much kaput. So I knew that when I found out that they were not making deodorant anymore, I needed to find a replacement. And I knew that this would be a lengthy process because it was pretty lengthy the first time that I did this. So what I have for you today is a review of 23 different natural deodorants that I have been testing over almost the last 2 years. And these are mostly different ones that I tested the first time around. There are a couple that I did sort of like retry to see if maybe my body was any different, or I don't know, maybe the formulas had changed or something. There were a couple more that I did sort of like add in that I had tried before, mostly with the same results as what I had the last time. Have I found something that is a direct replacement and works exactly like the Hola Deodorant one does? Unfortunately, no, but I have found some that are adequate enough for now until I can either sort of dupe the formula or, try whatever deodorants are still in the space that I haven't tried yet. I think I've pretty much tried most of what's out there. Obviously not everything, but I've tried a lot. I've spent a lot of money on deodorants over the last couple of years, and I hope that this is helpful to any of you guys who took my advice on the Hola deodorant and are just as upset that they are no longer making it. I hope that one of the ones that is a contender for me works for you. But that's the thing about deodorant, is that it is very personal. It's one of those ones, it's one of those kinds of products that it doesn't work the same on everybody. Some people really love one kind of deodorant, and then for somebody else it could not work at all. It could give them irritation or a rash. So yeah, so deodorant is one of those things that's like very, very personal, and it's just unfortunately one of those things that just requires a lot of testing by the person who's going to be using it, and you just have to sort of figure out if it works for you or not. So what may work for me may not work for you. You know, what I consider to be, you know, okay and adequate and does the job good enough for me might not do the job good enough for you. And maybe that has been the case already with one of the ones that I'll tell you is in my top picks. Maybe you'll tell me that you've tried that and it just did not work for you at all. That's unfortunately going to be the case with a lot of these. It just is what it is. So we are going to talk about the ones that didn't work first. I'm not going to lament over these for like hours and hours, because I don't need this to be like a 3-hour long video. I know I tried a lot of deodorants and I'm going to shove them all into one. But when I'm looking for a deodorant, here is my criteria. Does it give me irritation? So I am pretty sensitive to baking soda. There are some formulas that I can use that, as long as they have a minimal amount of baking soda, it's not like very prominent in the formula, I can use it and I'm usually okay. Like the Hola deodorant did have a minimal amount of baking soda, but it was sort of like the perfect combination of ingredients in here, because it also did have arrowroot powder, manganese, magnesium hydroxide, and then as well as the sodium bicarbonate. Whatever combination that had was perfect for me, and it didn't cause any irritation. It lasted all day. It was perfect. Very sad. These are very sad times. So yeah, so it cannot irritate me at all. So even when I sweat, sometimes I will get irritated by certain formulas. So zero irritation at all. That is my number one criteria. Number two is, does it work? Does it make me smell good? Like, does it make me smell better? Does it at least not make me smell worse? So like most deodorants, they're gonna kind of like mask your BO, or like they'll mix in with your sweat, and you know, it's never gonna be 100% of like, it's not gonna stop you from smelling. It's just like, does the formula work well enough to counteract your scent enough to, so that you don't smell? Like that's kind of what I've noticed as I've tested all these deodorants, is that some of them will work, but it's just sort of like, kind of like a masking. As long as I don't smell like my sweat, I'm okay. That's like my criteria. And three is, is there anything else about the formula that makes it just totally unusable? Like, is it too cakey? Does it like need some sort of special something to remove it? Because there are a couple that I've found that to be the case. Is it easily removable? You didn't think you'd have to think about that one. And then, can you use it multiple days in a row without showering? So can you just like put it on day one, next day, put it back on, it be okay, you know, even up to day 3. Usually I go 2 days, but sometimes I can go 3 or longer depending on what's going on in my life. But those are pretty much my criteria. And the main ones are, does it irritate and does it work? I mean, that's really what it comes down to. So I do have a mix of vegan and non-vegan formulas here. I will tell you my top picks in the vegan categories and my top picks in the non-vegan categories. I tried a lot of deodorants. I want to start with the ones, let's just start this off on a bad note. I want to start with the ones that did not work at all, and in a lot of cases made me smell worse than if I wasn't even wearing deodorant at all. This isn't like my bottom one, but I don't understand this formula. So the Kosas Sport deodorants. I do have the Serene Clean and I do have the fragrance free. This didn't work for me at all. I saw so many people say that this worked great on them, and I've seen a lot of people say that the AHAs work really well with their body. For me, this made me smell like curry. Like, I love curry. Curry smells amazing. Curry is one of my favorite things to eat. I don't like to smell like it all day. You know? I don't know what it is. I tried the fragrance-free one. I tried the one with the scent. They both made me smell awful. I just smelled so bad. I smelled worse than if I was not wearing deodorant at all. Like, I would rather smell my like normal BO smell than smell like a food dish all day, you know? So this didn't irritate or anything like that, but it didn't work either. This made me smell truly awful. Here's another one that didn't work. Do I have two? I have two scents of this one. This didn't work at all either. It's the Zion Health Clay Dry Deodorant, and I even went with their bold. They have a lot of different formulas. I went with their bold one because it's supposed to be extra strength. It's vegan, it's got no aluminum. They do have baking soda in them, and it didn't irritate me, but again, it didn't work. Within 1 hour of me putting this on, I again smelled just like a dumpster. So now, what I should have said in the beginning too is my testing phases usually lasted at least 3 weeks, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter, depending on how I got on with the deodorant in the beginning. These ones from day one didn't work, and I tried them for a couple of days, and there was just absolutely, they weren't going to work for me. There was no sort of, there was not going to be like a, I don't know, conditioning of my body phase where it was going to sort of like come around, because sometimes that can happen, but with these it just did not. I used these for a couple of weeks and saw zero. I just smelled bad. These I used for 3 days and I put them away. I was not going to continue to smell like truly awful. So I did write notes for all of the deodorants that I tested, what I noticed, because I knew that I wasn't going to remember everything, you know, throughout the 2-year process of this. So for the Kosas one, like I told you, I did smell like curry. It did work for the first 2 days, but then it just totally stopped working and I just smelled bad. So I don't know if my body was just like totally resistant to the idea of the AHA deodorant thing. And then you can reapply it, but again, it doesn't help. It doesn't make you smell any better if you reapply it versus not reapplying it. So like I said, it did work for the first 2 days. Then I started to smell like curry. I would reapply it. It wouldn't make any kind of difference. So that is the Kosas deodorant. So the Zion Health, the only note that I wrote is did not work at all. And that was it. So it didn't irritate me, but it didn't work. This didn't even work from day one. So starting from the jump, I had zero success with that deodorant. I don't recommend it. Again, if you have tried that and you've had success with it, like that's great that it works for you, but it's for a lot of people, it's going to be very dependent on like body chemistry and all of that. Okay, so one of the other ones that did not work well at all, and I've tried this one in the past and had the same reaction to it. So if I can get this out of here. This is the routine deodorant. So they do have 2 different versions. Most do at this point. Most will have a baking soda free version and one won't. And I tried both. I did try the baking soda version, and then I do have the baking soda free version here, which I'll talk about at another point. But the baking soda version, so I've tried this before and I had the exact same reaction. So this is the routine deodorants are very heavily fragranced. They are some of the most heavily fragranced of all of the deodorant formulas that I have here. And it's a little bit too much for me, even the baking soda free version. So this one causes me some of the most intense irritation of any of the formulas. So I'm guessing the baking soda concentration in here versus a lot of the other formulas is just very high. There just must be a lot of baking soda in here because it irritates me when I sweat. So like I wore this to the gym, like back when I was going to the gym, I did wear this to the gym a few times, and as I sweat, I'm on the elliptical or whatever and I'm like moving my arms around, it was burning all in my armpits and it was not a fun experience. The thing that it does that is like a total deal breaker for me. It causes me to get welts or like bumps underneath my skin. I don't know what exactly is swelling up in there when this happens, but I've had this happen before in other formulas that have had like a really high concentration of baking soda, but I get like hard lumps underneath my armpit. And like if I didn't know any better and I wasn't like testing deodorant, I would think like that was kind of some kind of cancer or something. But as soon as I stop the deodorant, it goes away. So I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my lymph nodes or something. It swells up my lymph nodes because there's lymph nodes in your armpits, right? It swells up something in there, like, so it's painful and it's hard and it takes a couple of days to go away once I've stopped the formulation. That usually happens in as little as under 3 days. So like within 3 days of using a formula that has too high of a concentration of baking soda, I'm starting to get those like hard lumps. Cause like, as you can see, what I had here, I think I got this in a Petit Vour box. It's just one of these little samples. of the routine deodorant, and there's not much in here to begin with. I didn't even finish it because I was starting to get those like lumps underneath my skin. So that one is a total no for me. Does anybody else have that happen when you use something that has way too much baking soda, or just like any formula in general? Like, do you ever get those like hard lumps underneath your armpits? I'm assuming it's my lymph nodes swelling up, but like, why would it do that? That's just, it's crazy. So another one that is like a total, I do not recommend to anybody, did not work for me at all, is the Piper Y activated charcoal deodorant. So this one, the charcoal stains all of my shirts. My husband used this. Did he like it? I feel like he did. But for me, I wear a lot of white shirts, so it stains all of my shirts. So that was, problem number one, is I ended up with like black armpits. Even if I rubbed this in, which I do for some of them, I will just like go in and rub it in to make sure that there's like not a lot of excess. It still stains all of my shirts. It's also chunky, which I don't particularly enjoy. So like when you rub it out on your underarms, there's like chunks. I don't like that. It also makes me smell like skunk when mixed with sweat. So like when I would actually sweat and I would need this to work, it would just make me smell like skunk. So no, this is a no for me. It's a no for me. I need a, who is that? Simon Cowell. I need a Simon Cowell. Okay, so then this last one that's like an absolute no. I was very, very excited about this one because I heard a lot of people say when this was released that this was like a holy grail deodorant for them, that this was like one of the best deodorants they ever tried, that this is the only one they'll ever use again. So I was initially very excited about it, but very disappointed in like the actual performance of it and just overall. So this is the Prim Botanicals Mademoiselle Swell deodorant. It does smell nice. What is it scented with? It's like bamboo. I don't know what it's scented with. It says natural fragrance. So this is very thick. This is one of the thickest deodorants that's here. And I found that it wouldn't actually remove with soap. So pretty much all of the other deodorants here, when I, washed my armpits the next day, I wouldn't have like this weird cakey residue that even with the soap wouldn't remove. This was so thick that even with just soap, it would not rinse clean. I would still feel like very oily and like thick film under there. So the only thing that would actually remove this is the Zabana Essentials charcoal, coconut, and clay soap. So I had to use this. I had to use this to remove that one, and I think one other one, because it was so thick, and I didn't reapply it. So like I would use it once, and then like the next day I would shower and I couldn't get it off with just soap. So that's a hard no for me. It has a pleasant scent, but it's not long lasting. So within a couple of hours I was starting to smell already, even if I wasn't doing anything. And then you cannot reapply it because of the texture, because it's so thick. So that was pretty disappointing. I was really excited about that one, and then it just didn't work. So those are like my 5 like super least favorites. I mean, every other one here that I'm going to talk about that's not a favorite is also a least favorite and didn't work for me in one way or another. But those ones are like my top no's that like just didn't work for me at all. There was some reason or another that like I wouldn't even consider them, even if they worked a little bit. Maybe I could reapply it and like I could deal with it, but those are all a hard no. This one is also a no. So I do have the 2 different versions of the Agent Nature deodorants. So I do have the baking soda version, and then I also have the baking soda free version. I bought the baking soda free version after trying this one, and this one I think I got in a detox box. So this one does last. This one lasts through the gym. It lasts day to day, and it did last. So this one initially was very promising, and it smells good. What does it smell? It's like rose or something. I don't have the rest of the packaging. I just have this, but it mostly ticks all of the boxes, except when I'm outside in the heat or when I'm actually sweating, it like irritates my underarms. So that was really disappointing that this one didn't work for me, because it does have baking soda in it. The baking soda concentration is pretty high. So during the winter, I can probably use this. I'll probably try to finish this off during this winter, because in the heat, in the sweat, when I sweat, I can't use this because then it starts to irritate, and it irritates pretty badly where it feels like it's burning. So almost almost worked. Like the baking soda concentration on this could be just like a little bit lower and it would probably be fine. But for me, the baking soda is just too high in this, unfortunately. So then I did want to try the baking soda free version to see if that would help. No. So where that other one almost ticked all of my boxes, this ticked none of my boxes. So this one is the baking soda free one. This doesn't really smell like anything. And because, I don't know, there's like not even any fragrance in this either. I guess because it's sensitive. It says it has jasmine, ylang ylang, sandalwood, neroli, and cedarwood, but now I'm wondering if I got like an old one or something. I think I bought this from like Detox Market, but it doesn't last long. So it's not as long lasting as their baking soda version. And this one made me smell musty. It just doesn't smell pleasant. And then I didn't smell pleasant. So it didn't work. That was a shame. That was a shame. So then what else have I got? So I've got soap Walla, which I did use quite a lot of this one. So this is the soap Walla one. So this is a vegan formula. The Agent Nature ones are not vegan. Those ones did have beeswax in it. So this one doesn't blend in all the way. Because as you can see, it is charcoal. So it's got that like gray cast. So it leaves a dark tint on my armpit. So like, even if I would like blend it in, it would still leave this like dark tint underneath my armpits, which again is gonna make all of my white clothes dirty. It's gonna make it look like black. So then it also has, so this has got like mint in it or something. What is the ingredients? It's like lavender mint. Oh, it's lavender mint. So the mint in it actually leaves like a tingly feeling underneath your armpits, which can be unpleasant. Probably for some people. For me, it wasn't too bad, but I could definitely see that being unpleasant for a lot of people, like that minty, tingly feeling underneath your armpits in like a very sensitive area. So I did want to make sure that I mentioned that. So it doesn't last a terribly long time either. It would last a couple of hours and then, you know, not. It's also not workout proof. So the minute I started sweating, it stopped working. And then it needs to be reapplied to perform. So it's one of those ones where you need to reapply it. Which again, for some formulas, I won't mind. I don't mind it, but it has to depend on, you know, other factors. Like the Schuyler one, I have done a video about this, so I can just talk about it really quickly. I will talk about it again. This one, it needs to be reapplied, but I don't mind reapplying this one because this one is clear. So I'm not going in with more charcoal and adding more of that dark tint to underneath my arms, you know? So that one is a no. It's a no for me. Okay, so then the Lone Deodorant. This one is another vegan formula. I think I picked this one up from Integrity Botanicals, I want to say maybe. So I'm not sure what the actual consistency of this is supposed to be, because when I got it, and I think it still is. Actually, no, now it's different. It was quite liquidy when I got it. And I don't know if it was supposed to be like that. I think now it's like gone bad because I don't know. Now like the whole thing is coming up and it's not supposed to. I'm like trying to push it through the top. This one might just need to go right in the garbage, but it was very liquidy. So I'm not sure if that was normal or a result of it melting in transit, because I think I did buy it over the summer. But now, as you can see, it is not liquidy, but it's also not coming up through the, it's not coming up through the holes. It's instead pushing up the top. Yeah, so I don't know what the texture is supposed to be like. I have no clue. It stings fresh shave armpits for even hours later. So like when I tried this initially, I like shaved my armpits and I put it on and I noticed it stings because I do think it has like salt in it. I'm pretty sure. Well, it does have baking soda. Yeah, it's precipitated dead sea salts distilled in water, so it does have some like salt in it. So I attributed that to like the stinging. So I would wait a little while to put it on and it would still sting even hours after I showered. So it worked decently well, but not the longest lasting. Works long enough to last throughout a workout, but not much longer than that. So like the sweating sort of like breaks it down a little bit. And it did have a pleasant smell. I do have the coconut lime one. I mean, it smells nice, but again, I don't really know about the formula. I don't know what it's supposed to be like, and now it like isn't coming up through the tube at all. I mean, I guess I can try again in the winter. I can buy another tube of that in the winter when it's not melted and see how it comes and if it is still like a sort of liquidy thing. But again, the sort of like it stinging freshly shaved armpits is kind of like a deal breaker too, because I don't want to have to like wait to put on deodorant. I don't really want to deal with that whole like stinging thing. So maybe not. Maybe I'll just let it be. So that's the Lone deodorant. Okay, so then I have the routine baking soda free one here. So I got mine in the scent, what did I get? Whoa, Blackberry Betty. They, again, have quite a few scents. They have a lot. They have a lot of scents that you can pick from, just like whatever. So as you can see, I also used a decent amount of this one. I did like a decent amount of testing for all of these, unless there was like super irritation, like the routine baking soda version. So this one didn't have any irritation because there's no baking soda. There wouldn't be any kind of the same reaction. So at least it gets that. There is no pilling or like rolling or anything. For some formulas, you can get like a pilling thing going on. This one melted into the skin, was really nice. It doesn't always last the longest or through a workout, so it just sort of depended on like day to day. Again, this is probably another one that I could keep using in the winter and it'll be fine. But as soon as summer comes around and or if I end up going back to the gym ever, I don't even know at this point like what's going to happen in the world, but it wouldn't last all day. And then they're also heavily fragranced and you can still smell it for hours afterwards, which can sometimes be irritating, especially depending on the scent. If you're very migraine prone, if you're very sensitive to scents, it's my main deal breaker with this one is how heavily scented it is. Like I can put up with the needing to reapply or it not lasting as long, but with how migraine prone I am, especially with fragrance, I can't deal with something that's gonna like give me a migraine and I could still smell it so heavily hours afterwards. So that one isn't one that I'll rebuy. Okay, so then I have the Spruce Naturals, which a lot of these were actually recommendations from you guys. Like Spruce Naturals was, I know Little Seed Farm was, which we'll talk about that in a little bit. Maybe not a lot of them, some of them. So this one again has baking soda in it. It doesn't last a terribly long time, so I would notice that I would start to smell after a couple of hours, and it burns when I sweat. So the baking soda concentration in this is a little bit too high, so the stinging, I just can't deal with that. Okay, so then we have the From Molly with Love deodorant. I was pretty excited about this one too when I found it because it's probiotic deodorant. I've been very into sort of like the probiotic, prebiotic, microbiome thing lately. I get real excited when I find products like that because it sort of speaks to me. Like I'm just really interested in that and the whole microbiome, learning about that. So this one again is really thick and doesn't remove well. I had to sort of apply the same removal that happened with the Prim Botanicals one. I have to use the Zabana, the Zabana Essentials, deodorant detox soap thing. So it doesn't have any scent. Yeah, it just smells like the butters and the stuff. It says it's got lemon essential oil and blood orange, but I don't smell them. And I didn't smell them at all, even in the beginning. So it's like kind of thick, it's kind of chunky, it doesn't have a scent, so it doesn't really last that long. So it's not really, at least for me, it's not, whatever the probiotics are doing, they're not sort of like dismantling the sweat and the scent and stuff that's happening under there. And then you can't reapply it because it is so thick. So unfortunately, that one did not work for me either. I had high hopes for that one as well, but it didn't, sadly. Okay, so then this one is the Pacifica Watermelon Rainbow Clean Deodorant. I picked this one on a whim, my God. One of the main things is how heavily fragranced this is. It is a lot. That is the one thing about Pacifica, like they're all vegan and I love that. They're cruelty free, they're all vegan, but a lot of their products are just so heavily scented. Their skincare and their all of that. This is just, it's too much, and then it doesn't work. It says it has odor-fighting enzymes, but it smelled like sweat mixed with watermelon, and it just wasn't a pleasant combination. And it happened pretty quickly after I put it on, so it didn't even last, I don't know, like 20 minutes, and then I would start to smell like sweat plus watermelon, which is not a good combination. I don't want to smell like that. Okay, so then another one that was unfortunately a no-go is the Zabana Essentials Rose Water Deodorant Stick. This is another one. Is it gonna, there it goes, focus. This is also very heavily fragranced. This one is probably more of like a natural fragrance because it says essential oils, which where the Pacifica one is not probably, it's probably something synthetic. So you can tell that this is like rose essential oil, but it's like, I'm getting kind of like woozy smelling it. So not only is it too heavily scented, it didn't last long even when reapplied, and I could still smell my BO. So I smelled like rosy sweat. And it was not a pleasant experience. So that's another one that we mark off the list. Okay, then also last summer, the Detox Mode released their own deodorants. They released their Feeling Altogether Classic Deodorant with neroli and cardamom, and then they also released their Feeling Free Baking Soda Free Deodorant with charcoal and lavender. What do you think? What do you think happened? The baking soda version irritated my skin. It smells nice. I really like the scent of it, but it irritates. So unfortunately I can't use that. And then the baking soda free version didn't work. Again, this one also smells really nice. And the charcoal on it is not as heavy as some of the other charcoal deodorants that I tried. So it wasn't as bad as the, like the Soap Walla one or the Piper Y one, but it didn't work at all. So I just smelled like smelly lavender, I guess. So that was unfortunate as well. I thought at least one of those was gonna work. Okay, so we're coming up on my 5 top picks. So I'll start with my, I don't know, is this like my least favorite of the 5? I mean, I like this one and I really had high hopes for this one as well. So this is the Little Seed Farms and this baking soda free. I think all of their scents are baking soda free. I'm pretty sure, yeah, I'm pretty sure they all are. I picked up a full size and then I also picked up their little sampler kit. So I did try most of their scents. The only ones I haven't tried yet are the activated charcoal, which I don't really want to try because the charcoal ones just sort of like stain on my clothes, and then the cucumber one. So I do want to try the cucumber one. I liked most of the scents enough. I think I tried like a lavender, there was a grapefruit, or is this grapefruit? This is grapefruit lemon. I don't even remember what all the scents were. There was an unscented one which didn't work at all. Then there was one that was sort of like more of a unisex masculine scent that I didn't really like. I did kind of like the more floral, sort of the ones that flirt more towards feminine. And the grapefruit lemon one I did also really like. So this works pretty well. Let me go back to my notes so I don't forget anything. So this mostly works. Some scents work more than others, which is what I was just saying. So some of the scents did mask the odors better than others. Some I could just totally smell myself and it was not pleasant. It's easy to reapply, so you can apply this more days in a row because it does have like a really nice texture that melts into your skin, and it can be used in multiple days. So this one is one that I would probably rebuy because I think that it works well enough. It works most of the time, depending on what scent you get. So if you're gonna try the Little Seed Farms, definitely get their sampler pack so you can find which scent works best with your body, because some of them definitely do work better than others depending on your body, I guess. So the grapefruit lemon one does work for me, and I'm hoping the cucumber one does too, because I really like cucumber scent. So that's one that I would recommend. That one's probably towards my low end because it doesn't work 100% of the time, but it does work mostly well for the most part. So that's the Little Seed Farms. And then going up the list of sort of like my favorites, but from moving from like lowest efficacy to the highest efficacy, the Schuyler Naturals Refreshing Deodorant would be sort of ranking in the lower, but also still works. So the Schuyler one has a lot of pros. It is vegan, it's clear, which means no stains, and it's easy to reapply. So when I'm wearing this one that I'm starting to smell a little bit, I just run into the bathroom, do a couple of swipes, and I'm good for another few hours. And I'm totally fine reapplying this because the texture of it is nice. Again, it's clear. I'm not worrying about any stains or it being like chunky or anything like that. So the fragrance might be too much for some. Schuyler does use natural and safe synthetic fragrance. They don't use any harsh synthetics, any synthetics that are going to give you like a migraine. At least in my experience, I haven't. I'm very prone to migraines when it comes to fragrance, and none of the Schuyler scents have given me, a migraine that I cannot handle. Or not, they haven't given me a headache at all. I didn't want to say it like that. They have not given me any migraines. That's what I want to say. Because most of the time when I'll walk into a room with like a Glade plug-in or someone who's using, you know, really conventional perfume, or someone who's just sprayed something, or Febreze, whatever, all that stuff gives me a migraine within like minutes. And I've never had an issue with the Schuyler perfumes. It's why I continue to recommend them to you guys, why I continue to feature them on my channel. Is because I do really think that they tailor really well to people who have scent sensitivities and like allergies and things like that. And maybe they have some people who are, you know, migraine prone like me, and that's what they, you know, tailor their brand to. I mean, that's what I like to hope, I think, but I don't have any issues. But they can be, if you're more sensitive to scent than I am, in a way that like really strong scents bother you and not so much like a migraine thing, they can be, you know, like too heavily scented for some people probably. My husband did use up an entire tube of this and did really enjoy it. It worked well for him. He had no complaints. So it does work for men as well. He used the Isle scent. They do have Capri and Isle. He used Isle. I have Capri. So he liked it as well. If you wanted like a man's perspective, obviously he's not here telling you that, but he did he threw it away. And I checked it, because sometimes he'll throw stuff away that's like not totally done. And so I checked it and he had used the whole thing. So I'm surprised he hasn't asked for it back for like another one, but maybe he's using something else right now, or he's got to be. So then, like I was saying in the beginning when I was talking about this one, it does last for most of the day, but it needs to be reapplied, which again, I don't mind because the formula is clear, it's not thick, it's not heavy. So that is one that I recommend. It's also cheap, isn't it? Is it like $10 or something? Maybe it's a little bit more than that, but it's pretty inexpensive. It works pretty well. You do need to reapply it, but I don't mind so much. And if you're someone who doesn't mind, you know, maybe you can just go into the bathroom at work, do a little swipe at lunchtime or something like that, and you'll be good for the rest of the day. That's one that I would recommend because it does mostly tick off all the boxes. The thing about it is that like it doesn't tick off any of the negative boxes, so it doesn't like irritate or give me weird hard bumps under my skin. Okay, so then the next is the Meow Meow Tweet baking soda free deodorant stick. For the longest time, my favorite deodorant was the baking soda free Meow Meow Tweet pots. That's what I used pretty religiously before I found the Hola deodorants. I think it was like Fable Naturals is what they used to be. It like just came to my head, so I feel like I had to say it. Yeah, I used this pretty religiously before I found the Fable Naturals / Hola deodorant, and then I fell in love with that one. So then they came out with sticks, oops, a couple of years later. I just popped that out. And then I got a stick in the Beauty Heroes when they did that sustainability box, and so I gave it another try, and I do really enjoy this. It is amazing. It works really well. So this one again ticks off most of the boxes. It doesn't irritate. It works pretty much most of the day. I do find that sometimes I will need to reapply it, and it can easily be reapplied, and then sometimes I don't have like a need to reapply it. So it really just sort of depends on the day, it depends on what I'm doing. But this is one that I would recommend. It's also pretty inexpensive, but it doesn't last as long either because this is a smaller tube. It's 1.8 ounces. And these, the tubes that they come in can be pretty temperamental, I'll say, because like this is what mine, it doesn't stay. It should stay up because when I push it up and I like try to go put this under my arms right now, this will just pop right back down. So I kind of have to hold it underneath while I put that on. So while I do like their sustainability efforts of their tube, it can be kind of fickle depending on like the, you know, the piece underneath. It should probably be just a little bit thicker so that way when you push it up, it stays. It shouldn't pop right back down. So that's one of the other things. So I'd probably buy this in a pot again next time, even though I did just buy a couple of the sticks to have on hand because I do like this formula. So that's probably my main complaint is just the packaging of it. To alleviate that, just get the pot. I think they do have a baking soda version, but I haven't tried that because most baking soda versions do irritate, and I just wasn't going to pick that up knowing that it probably was because pretty much all of these formulas that have baking soda have irritated. The two that are my top do have baking soda, but the concentration of it is low enough that I have not had any irritation with it. So that's why I wasn't gonna bother with the Meow Meow Tweet one that wasn't baking soda free because I knew that that one worked for me before, so. Okay, so then the next two are my top two picks. So this is my top pick for vegan deodorant and my top pick for non-vegan deodorant. So we'll start with the non-vegan deodorant. Actually, you know what? We'll start with the vegan one because the vegan one is like, it's in number 2 actually, and the non-vegan one happens to be my number 1. So this is the Real Purity high heat deodorant. So they do have other formulations. I have only tried the high heat version. I have not tried any of their other formulas, or I think someone mentioned a roller that they have. I haven't tried any of those. I'm open to it, but I'm not looking to at the moment just because these are the ones that I've found. The Real Purity also goes out of stock quite frequently, and I have worried about the timing of this video because like every time I'm about ready to film it, I go on the website and it's sold out. So if it's sold out, just keep an eye on it. They seem to go back in stock every couple of weeks, but they do sell out quite frequently. So, I mean, that's something to keep in mind as well, but it is cheap. It's $10, it's vegan, it's got baking soda, but it works. So that's that. So the Real Purity works all day, even into the next day. So like I don't find that in the morning if I'm not showering, I don't need to reapply it like immediately. So like I can wake up and be awake for a couple hours and still be okay. So you can reapply it because it's not super thick. I don't find it to be, I mean, it kind of looks like it would be, but it's not. Like it melts really easily into the skin. I'm actually almost out of this tube. And then there's no irritation at all, even with the baking soda, which is pretty hard to find. So this is my number 2 pick. It's my pick if you're looking for a vegan. This one is vegan, but I would pick this one over this one just because this one works a little bit better and a little bit longer. Plus you don't have that tube issue. Like I get the sustainability efforts of it, but it can be kind of like annoying. It can be kind of annoying. Okay, so this is my number 1 pick. And it's kind of funny that it actually has charcoal because it doesn't, I don't have an issue with the charcoal on this one. Like it doesn't stain all of my clothes. This is the Clio and Cocoa Charcoal Deodorant, Sweet Surrender Lavender Vanilla. They do have a baking soda free version that I have not tried, so I cannot comment on the baking soda free version just yet. I will try it at some point, I just haven't yet. So this is the non-baking soda free version. So this one does have charcoal, magnesium clay, and then it also has a little bit of, you know, the baking soda. So this lasts all day. I can reapply it no problem the next day, and I smell just fine. You smell like the lavender vanilla. So the scent of it is a little bit strong, but I don't find it to be so strong that I'm bothered by it. And then when I start sweating, I just smell this. I don't smell like my sweat. I really enjoy this. I really enjoy the scent. They do have a few others. I think they've got like a grapefruit. They've got like a basil something or other. I feel like I have another scent, but I don't remember. We have like a basil. I have to go find it. But this is my number 1 pick just because I can reapply this. I get 0 irritation. It never makes me smell. It smells pleasant. And the charcoal doesn't stain my clothes in this one for some reason. It must be like the concentration of charcoal with deodorants too, whether or not that does that with your clothes, but that one doesn't for whatever reason, but all these other ones that I tried did. I don't know. Somebody explain it. I don't know. So that's it. That is the 23 deodorants that I have tried over the last 2 years. To get to the 5 that I would recommend you give a try if you are looking for a deodorant to replace Hola. If you tried Hola as well and it worked wonderfully for you and you haven't been able to find a replacement, try one of these 5. You might have to try a couple to get to the one that, you know, works well for you, because my number 1 might not work for you at all, because it really just depends on our bodies. Our bodies are all very different. They all smell different. They all do different things. Maybe you use the routine baking soda version and you don't get those weird hard lumps that I do. Like, I'm sure that there are, because they wouldn't keep making it if everybody had like weird lumps underneath their armpits when using stuff like that. So really it's going to depend on your needs, your body, your individuality. And these are the ones that work the best for me. And I'm done testing deodorants, at least for now. I'm not gonna say at this point that I'll never test another deodorant again, because we might have the same problem in a couple of years. Maybe Clio and Cocoa will no longer be in business. I mean, the way that the last year has gone and we don't know what's going to happen in 2021, some of these companies might end up out of business. I don't know. I really hope not. it's really depressing thinking about that so many people have lost their small businesses and small businesses have went under. And there are a lot of restaurants in my, in my state right now that are really struggling. And like, I'm sad about it all. But it is possible that at some point in the future, some of these deodorants might not be there anymore. Because, small companies go under and out all the time. And so then at some point I might be doing another one of these videos, but I hope to God it's not soon. So some of these deodorants that are no's for me, I probably will still use and try to use up, but some of these are just going straight into the trash, like just because they just don't. I will not give them another minute underneath my armpits. But if you have been wondering how what is even the results of my massive deodorant testing effort. I should have added another one to make it at even 24. The number 23 is kind of irritating me right now. But that's it. That's the 23 deodorants that I've tested over the last 2 years, to find the 5 that work the best, that are now a replacement for the Hola deodorant that I loved for so long, that I turned so many of you guys onto. I'm tired and I'm just rambling now at this point. So let me know what your thoughts are. If you've tried any of the deodorants that I liked, and what, did they work for you? Did they not work for you? Is there one in my no pile that works amazing for you? Like, let's just talk about deodorants in the comments. Like, let me know what your favorite is, what your least favorite is, what you look for in a deodorant. Do you get weird lumps underneath your armpits too with some formulas? Like, I want to know that. I want to know who else gets that reaction. Because we need to have like a Facebook group of like, deodorant gives us swollen lymph nodes or something. Like, I don't know. I always want to I don't know, camaraderie with my weird ailments. But thank you guys for being here. I hope that this was helpful and you enjoyed it and you got something out of it and you appreciate my my testing over the last 2 years, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.